Good morning. This is Rev Pam Geagan from the Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley in Camarillo, California, welcoming you to a meditation. And this week we are doing stories and parables. And so this one I got from Uji, who I think is just one of the wonderful meditation teachers. And so you're invited to go on his website, and it's called The King and the Cleaning Boy. And what it's about is, as first of all, let's just relax in. I certainly would love to relax in. And just pulling that energetic presence from high on above. And having it come down from the head. And just filling the crown chakra, relaxing the crown and going down the face and relaxing the jaws, becoming slack-jawed. Going down the neck, the arms, out the arms, down the fingertips, out the fingertips, up and through and all around the back, and coming on the upper heart chakra, placing the hand on the heart right here and right now. And then feel that energy going around the back, relaxing the back, dropping the shoulders, dropping the head, just breathing in. And with hand on heart, God is on the in-breath, connecting to all source, I am on the out-breath. Where the God is, I am. And one more silently. And just raising your oxytocin level. And then feel that energy continue to fill the body. From the upper heart chakra to the back, to the upper abdomen in the back, lower abdomen, just going down, down, down. A wave of wonderful warm energy. Going down into the thighs, the knees, the calves, the ankles, out the feet, connecting to the Middle Earth. And then breathing in. Feel all that energy, not only filling all the way from the Middle Earth, that tube of light, but coming up through the feet, the ankles, the calves, the knees, the thighs, the root chakra, the lower abdomen, lower back, up all the way through the heart chakra, and then shooting right up all around us as we relax in this moment. And I share the story of the king and the cleaning boy from the Indian perspective of Moji. So there was a king, and he was growing very old, and he was a very wise, fair, and just king. And he loved his people. But because he had no children, and he was aging, he woke up one morning and he told his ministers, he said, please put out a calling. And in that calling, ask all the citizens to apply to take over as the next king or queen once I make my transition of this beautiful kingdom. So his ministers put the word out. And he put it out to the entire country, all ages, women and men, boys and girls. And in the requirements, in the proclamation, it said, if you feel you have the capacity to lead this country, the king invites you to apply on this certain date. Well, and so the date mentioned, hundreds and hundreds of people showed up. And part of the requirement in the proclamation was, if you feel fit to rule this country with wisdom and righteousness, with justice, please come at this certain date. And so those who looked deep inside their hearts and felt they had the greatest potential showed up. And those after the cursory interview, which left still hundreds, that the ministers felt in the pre-interviewing time had the greatest potential, were set aside, put aside, set aside in their own way. And they said they would be trained in the royal ways to become great leaders. Because no one would be able to see the king immediately. They were told you can't meet the king directly, for you do have to be trained in the royal ways for at least 6 months. And after 6 months of this intense learning, this intense training, this intense being what it's like and seeing what it's like to rule this kingdom and be the king, after 6 months of just learning the basics, what this takes to be king or queen, to rule this realm, then you can meet the king for the final interview. And so there were different levels of learning and training during this. And the first one is they were all invited to go to the royal baths. And oh, the royal baths were not just for the king or queen. It was a huge, huge place where you could enjoy all the finest oils and massages, rejuvenate every day. And then after the royal baths, they were taught how to dress in the royal garments, how to don the royal garments, all the layers that go, all the sacred layers that go. And then learning how to dress and choose the finest clothing and walk in the finest clothing. The next level was they would learn to ride and care for the royal horses. And then the next level is they would learn the politics of the country. They would learn all the rules and ethics and integrity it took to rule the country as a king or queen. And then the last one, and the most important one, they would be taken to learn all of the ins and outs and to be religious scholars of their religion. They would be taught the energetic presence of the God within and the God without. They would be schooled in meditation and allowed to experience it themselves. They would learn how to be in contact with Source itself, the God itself, in private, and also learning the public prayers. How to pray with and for the people. And then after all of this training, after 6 months, they would finally be able to have an audience with the king. And everyone that is chosen is so happy to become part of this process. So they go through all the processes. The ministers leave them on their own. They go to all the processes. They go through the royal baths, the massages, dressing in the finest silks, learning the sacred ways of moving in them. They go to learn how to ride and take care of the horses. They learn about all the politics. And finally, they learn all of the sacred ways of being in the kingdom, both privately and publicly. So the ministers leave all of these people to be on their own, to graduate from each level when they felt they were done. And so 1 week before meeting the king, the ministers go and they begin to interview and meet and watch the people training in this wonderful opportunity to be trained in the royal way, to become royalty. So they all go back, the ministers, and check on the interviewees. And the interviewees are still, some of them are left, they're still in the royal baths. They never left. And the ministers are saying, oh my God, what has happened here? Some even opened up businesses at the side of the royal baths as masseurs, selling sacred oils, offering food in exchange for money. Some are selling royal trinkets and memorabilia. Some are even selling the plans to make their own jacuzzi baths. And the ministers are just stunned, and they say to the people, but you should have moved on long ago. They say, oh, no, 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 we love it here. Please tell the king, thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And because of this wonderful opportunity, we feel we have met our right and perfect place of where we should be. We found our true purpose in life. And some of them handed them, the ministers, their card. He said, tell the king we'll give him a discount. We'll do Reiki. And the ministers are just stunned. So the king's ministers, the entourage, go into the next place. They go and find the people who were being dressed and skilled on learning skills on how to dress properly. And they find the same thing. They are stunned because many of the people that came for the interview and the training are still trying on clothes, relaxing in their silk garments, becoming very comfortable with this new lifestyle. They'd never moved on to learning about the royal horses. And they say the same thing. No, no, no. We've set up businesses selling our own wonderful lingerie, our own silk clothes, our own kingly garments. And he does this, they do the same thing. They hand the royal ministers the cards for the king and say, please, we can now make clothes for the king if he would like. And again, we'll give him a discount. And the ministers are just stunned. They go, oh my God, how can this be? And the ministers leave just so disappointed. And they go into the writing and the writing schools. And again, they find now that many of the people have graduated from the royal baths and the royal dressing to the riding schools and how to ride. And they find them teaching others now, the public, setting up their own businesses on how to dress and ride and care for the horses. And the same story. They say to the ministers, tell the king we have learned even more ways to ride. We are so grateful for this opportunity, and he can have a discount in our riding school. And so the ministers are just blown away. And then he now goes into the place of where they are learning the laws and ethics of the country. And what do they find? They find some of those that are left. They're fighting over the politics. All that are left are there, still in there, like in a court, fighting over the politics, saying who's right, who's wrong, judging others. And when the ministers come, they say, we have gone through everything. And in the politics, tell the king if he wants new ministers, we're ready, we're here to support him. In all the areas they visit, the ministers are like this. Some have learned about astrology, some have learned about the healing aspects, but none of them have graduated into the sacred areas of praying and meditating. So the ministers just don't even know what to do, so they approach the king and they say, we need more time. And the king says, well, why? You've had over 6 months now. And the ministers all tell the king, all of the people have set up shops selling what they have learned, and some are still arguing over the politics. No one's moving along, and we just don't know what happened, but they're all stuck at different levels. So the king says, but what about meditation in the prayer rooms? And the ministers look at him mournfully and say, there's nobody inside. The king says, what? For that is the last place the people were to visit, was the temple of the holy, the most holy. And the temple of the holiness is where the king goes at the end of each day. And he's devastated. And he goes there this day, hearing the news that no one has graduated into this most sacred moment. And in the silence, he begins to pray. And every day in this silence, in this meditation, he undresses himself in sacred silence as he is absorbed then in meditation. He is all by himself. And so in the meditation and in the silence, he is still perplexed. And for the first time, the king looks around. He looks around at all of the sacred objects. And he loves them all. But in the corner, suddenly, all he sees among the sacred objects, no one is there except a cleaning boy. A cleaning boy he was not aware of in the past. And the king says, why are you here? What are you doing? And the boy, who is only 12, says, well, his job is most sacred to him, and his job is to only clean all the sacred objects and to clean the room every day. And to ensure that the sacredness of the room stays in integrity. And the king says, well, how many years have you been doing this? He says, since I was very, very young. And I pray over all the items in the meditation room. And I bless them, and then I hide in the corner. He says, you hide in your corner? He said, is that why I never see you? Is that why I never see you? And the boy says, yes, I remain in the corner, just waiting for you. And the king says to the young boy, what have you witnessed firsthand? What have you seen all these years? And the boy, looking down, says, I see the king who enjoys all the great treasures of this kingdom in this room. But in this place, he remains untouched. He leaves everything, for nothing matters to him. He undresses not just his clothes, but he even leaves his thoughts. He undresses his thoughts. And the boy says, "This is my very, very favorite place to always be." And the rest of the story you probably know. The king looks at him and knows that this young boy is the only boy fit to become the next king. It's when you leave the thoughts behind, become at one, and honor all the beauty in and through around you, does the wisdom become clear to you in every area of your beingness. So today, as I stay in the I Am, please personalize these secret thoughts and words. In that oneness, in that sacredness, in the great beyond within, I am seeing the treasure of it all. I am the treasure of it all. And I see that everything on this planet is a treasure to be honored. And I am grateful for it all. And I remain standing on sacred ground, becoming, absorbing the sacred presence. And wherever I am, the sacred in me shines through. And so today, I'll be here tomorrow with another story. Namaste. Peace out. I love each and every one of you. God is the only thing there is. Together we say, and so it is. I'll see you this Thursday night with Buzz Noe doing the Sacred Uplift on Thursday night. The spiritual uplift. And I'll see you tomorrow morning on the flip side. Mwah! Have a blessed day.